At my daughter's wedding, her husband said, "Starting tomorrow, we don't need you anymore." I just nodded and canceled the $80,000 transfer. The next morning, they were standing at my doorstep. Good day, dear listeners. It's Louisa again. I'm glad you're here with me. Please like this video and listen to my story till the end, and let me know which city you're listening from. That way, I can see how far my story has traveled. I had spent 32 years building my accounting firm from nothing. My late husband, Robert, and I had poured everything into creating a stable life. And when he passed 5 years ago, I made a promise to myself. I would use what we built to help our only daughter, Emma, have the life we'd dreamed for her. Emma was 28, bright, ambitious, and I thought I knew her. She'd always been independent, maybe a little materialistic, but I chalked it up to her generation. When she met Derek 6 months ago at some tech conference in Austin, everything changed. Suddenly, she needed designer clothes for networking events, a new car because Derek's colleagues would notice, a bigger apartment in the right neighborhood. I paid for it all. What else are mothers for? The wedding came quickly. Too quickly, I thought. But Emma insisted they were in love. I wrote check after check. The venue at the Fairmont, the dress from Vera Wang, the honeymoon in Bali. My financial advisor, Margaret, had raised her eyebrows when I told her I was transferring $80,000 for the wedding expenses. "That's a significant portion of your liquid assets, Helen," she'd said carefully. "It's my daughter's wedding," I'd replied. "It's once in a lifetime." The ceremony was beautiful, I'll admit. Emma looked radiant in that dress I'd paid for, walking down an aisle decorated with flowers that cost more than my first car. I sat in the front row, smiling, ignoring the small voice in my head that whispered something was off. The reception was at the hotel's grand ballroom. Crystal chandeliers, a live band, premium open bar. I'd spared no expense. I watched Emma and Derek dance their first dance, and I felt that maternal pride swell in my chest. Maybe I'd been worried for nothing. Then came the toasts. Derek's father went first, giving some generic speech about love and partnership. Emma's maid of honor told embarrassing college stories. Then Derek stood up, microphone in hand, his smile just a little too wide. "I want to thank everyone for being here tonight," he began, his voice smooth and confident. "Especially Helen, my wonderful mother-in-law, who made all of this possible." People applauded. I nodded, smiling. "Helen has been incredibly generous," Derek continued, and something in his tone made my smile falter. "She's helped us with the apartment, the car, and of course this incredible wedding, and I want her to know how much we appreciate everything she's done." He paused, and I saw him glance at Emma. She was looking down at her champagne glass, not meeting anyone's eyes. "But I also want to make something clear," Derek said, his smile never wavering. "Starting tomorrow, Emma and I are beginning our life together as an independent couple. We won't be needing any more help from anyone." The room went quiet. I felt my face flush. "We're adults now," Derek continued as if he were announcing the weather. "We need to stand on our own 2 feet. So, Mom Helen, as much as we appreciate everything, and we do from tomorrow on, you don't need to worry about us anymore. We've got this." He raised his glass. "To independence!" Some people cheered awkwardly. Others shifted in their seats, sensing the tension. I sat frozen, my champagne glass trembling slightly in my hand. Emma still wasn't looking at me. Derek sat down, kissing Emma's cheek while she forced a smile. Across the ballroom, I caught my sister Linda's eye. She looked horrified. The rest of the reception passed in a blur. People came up to congratulate me, but their smiles were pitying. Did they all know I'd been used? Had I been the only one blind to it? At 11 o'clock, I went to the ladies' room and pulled out my phone. My hands were shaking, From anger or humiliation, I couldn't tell. I opened my banking app and navigated to pending transfers. There it was. $80,000 to Emma and Derek Henderson. Scheduled to process on Monday morning, 2 days from now. I stared at that number for a long moment. From tomorrow on, you don't need to worry about us anymore. Derek's words echoed in my head. My finger hovered over the cancel button. Then I pressed it. The transfer status changed to canceled. I took a deep breath, fixed my lipstick, and walked back out to the reception with a smile on my face. If they wanted independence, they were about to get it. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my living room, still wearing my mother-of-the-bride dress, with a calculator and 3 years' worth of bank statements spread across my coffee table. The numbers were worse than I'd thought. The apartment down payment, $25,000. Emma's car lease, paid in full for 2 years, $18,000. Her credit card debt that she'd begged me to cover just this once, $12,000. The emergency dental work, $4,500. Designer work clothes, $8,000. The engagement ring I'd helped Derek buy because he was between jobs, $15,000. And the wedding, $80,000 that would have processed on Monday. Total, $162,500. I sat back, feeling sick. $162,000 in 6 months. My retirement savings had taken a serious hit. Margaret's concerned face flashed through my mind, but it wasn't really about the money, was it? I'd have given Emma everything if she'd loved me, if she'd respected me, if she hadn't sat there, silent, while her new husband publicly dismissed me like a used checkbook. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma. "Mom, we're heading to the hotel. Thank you for everything." I stared at that heart emoji. Did she know what Derek was going to say? Had they planned it together? Another text from Linda. "Are you okay? That speech was appalling. Call me tomorrow." I turned my phone face down and went back to my calculations. The wedding transfer was canceled, but everything else was already spent. Gone. I couldn't undo those payments, but I could make sure they understood the value of what they'd taken. By 3 in the morning, I had the beginning of a plan. First, I needed information. Real information. I'd been writing checks without asking questions, trusting Emma when she said Derek was starting his own consulting business or waiting for the right opportunity. What did he actually do? Where did their money go if I was paying for everything? I opened my laptop and started searching. Derek Henderson, Austin, Texas. His LinkedIn profile popped up immediately. Entrepreneur, investor, consultant. No actual companies listed. No work history beyond vague descriptions. Just a profile picture of him on a yacht I knew he didn't own. I dug deeper. His Instagram was public, a mistake on his part. Photos of expensive restaurants, luxury cars, not the one I'd leased for Emma, designer watches, all posted in the last 6 months, all while he was supposedly building his business. Where was that money coming from? I took screenshots of everything. Then I searched for Emma's accounts. Her Instagram was more careful, mostly private, but her Facebook was open. Recent posts about grateful for this new chapter and blessed beyond measure. Comments from her friends. "You guys are living the dream," and "couple goals," the dream I'd paid for. Sunday morning came too quickly. I made coffee and waited. They'd be at the airport soon, heading to Bali. First-class tickets I'd purchased 3 months ago. My phone rang at 9:47 a.m. Emma. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. Then Derek called. Then Emma again. I waited until the 5th call to answer. "Mom!" Emma's voice was high, panicked. "Mom, there's a problem. The hotel says the transfer didn't go through for the honeymoon suite upgrade and the resort deposit. They're saying the payment was canceled. Was it? I kept my voice calm, detached. Mom, what's going on? Did something happen with the bank? Nothing happened with the bank, Emma. I canceled the transfer. Silence. Then, what? Why would you… Derek, she canceled it. Mom, you can't just… Actually, I can. I took a sip of my coffee. Derek made it very clear last night that you don't need my help anymore. Starting today, remember? So, I'm respecting your independence. That's not what he meant. Her voice cracked. Mom, we need that money. The resort requires a deposit and the honeymoon suite, and then I suggest you use your own funds. We don't have $80,000. Then I suggest, I said quietly, you should have thought about that before letting your husband humiliate me in front of 200 people. Mom, please, I hung up. My hands were shaking again, but this time from adrenaline, not fear. I'd crossed a line. There was no going back now, but I wasn't finished. Not even close. I pulled up my contacts and found Margaret's number. It was Sunday, but this couldn't wait. Margaret, it's Helen. I need to schedule an appointment, tomorrow if possible. I need to discuss some financial changes, and I need your advice on something sensitive. When I hung up, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. I felt like myself again. Monday morning, I sat across from Margaret in her downtown office. Through the window, I could see the city where I'd built my entire career, the city where Emma had grown up, the city I'd almost bled dry for her wedding. Helen, are you sure about this? Margaret's reading glasses were perched on her nose as she reviewed the documents I'd brought. The bank statements, the screenshots, the timeline of payments. I've never been more sure of anything. She sighed, removing her glasses. Legally, you have no recourse for the money already spent. Those were gifts. But if you're serious about protecting your remaining assets, I am. Then we need to make some immediate changes. First, any joint accounts or authorized users need to be removed. Second, I'd recommend setting up a revocable trust for your remaining assets. Third, she hesitated. Helen, I have to ask. Is there any chance of reconciliation? Emma is your daughter. I thought about that heart emoji, the silence during Derek's speech, the panic in her voice when the money disappeared. Not until I know the truth, I said. Not until I know who my daughter really is. Margaret nodded slowly. Then let's make sure you're protected. We spent 3 hours restructuring everything. Emma's access to my accounts, removed. The credit cards I'd given her for emergencies, canceled. My will, amended to place everything in trust with conditions. Margaret also recommended I document everything, every payment, every conversation, every text message. If this escalates, she said carefully, you'll want records. I left her office at noon, exhausted but determined. My phone showed 17 missed calls from Emma and Derek. I ignored them all. Instead, I drove to my sister Linda's house in the suburbs. Jesus, Helen, Linda said, pouring us both wine even though it wasn't even 1 o'clock. You really did it. You cut them off. I should have done it Saturday night. What are they saying? I pulled out my phone and played her the voicemails. Emma crying, apologizing, saying Derek didn't mean it that way. Derek's voice, smooth and reasonable, explaining that I'd misunderstood, that he was just trying to ease the burden on me. More tears from Emma, then anger from Derek. This is incredibly selfish, Helen. You're ruining your daughter's honeymoon out of spite. Linda's face darkened. That manipulative little… Wait, there's more. The last voicemail was from this morning. Emma's voice was cold now, all tears gone. Mom, I don't know what you think you're doing, but you need to fix this. We're at the airport, and we can't board without the resort confirmation. You're embarrassing us. People are staring. If you don't transfer that money in the next hour, there will be consequences. I mean it. Linda stared at the phone. Consequences. She's threatening you. Apparently, independence comes with conditions. What are you going to do? I'm going to find out what they've been hiding. That afternoon, I did something I'm not particularly proud of. I used the spare key I still had to Emma's apartment, the apartment I'd paid for, and let myself in. It felt like crossing a line, and it was. But I needed to understand what I was dealing with. The apartment was immaculate, decorated with furniture I recognized from high-end stores. Everything matched. Everything was perfect. Emma had always cared about appearances. I went to the home office, Derek's space, supposedly, where he ran his consulting business. The desk was expensive, the chair was expensive, but there were no files, no paperwork, no sign of any actual work. I opened the desk drawers. The first drawer was empty. The second had some old mail. The third had a folder labeled Financial. Inside were credit card statements. Not the cards I knew about, different ones. Discover, American Express, Chase. All in Derek's name, all maxed out. I sat down heavily in that expensive chair. $23,000 on the Discover card. $31,000 on American Express. $18,000 on Chase. Minimum payments marked past due. My hands shook as I photographed each statement with my phone. Restaurant charges, luxury retailers, a payment to something called Platinum Sports Betting. There was more. A letter from a collections agency demanding payment for a defaulted car loan, not the car I'd leased, a different car. An eviction notice from Derek's previous apartment, dated 8 months ago, for unpaid rent. At the bottom of the drawer was a notebook. I opened it. Inside, in Derek's handwriting, was a list. H's retirement accounts, approximately $340,000. H's house, paid off, estimated $580,000. H's business sale, she mentioned $200,000 savings. Below that, wedding equals $80,000. Next, house down payment? Start talking about grandkids. She'll want to help with nursery. Maybe co-sign on investment property? I felt cold. This wasn't just opportunism. This was a plan, a systematic plan to extract every dollar I had. And Emma? Was she part of it, or was she a victim too? I photographed everything, replaced it exactly as I'd found it, and left the apartment. I'd found my proof. The question now was what to do with it. I didn't hear from them for 2 days. Later, I learned they'd borrowed money from Derek's brother to salvage part of the honeymoon. 3 days in Cancun instead of 2 weeks in Bali. The thought gave me no pleasure, but it didn't hurt either. On Wednesday morning, I met with Robert Chen, an attorney Linda had recommended. He specialized in elder financial abuse. I'm 63, not elderly, I said when we first sat down. The law defines it as 60 or older, Robert said gently. And what you're describing, systematic exploitation, undue influence, possible fraud, these are textbook cases. I showed him everything. The payments, the timeline, Derek's debts, the notebook with my assets listed like inventory. He was quiet for a long time, reviewing the photographs on my phone. Mrs. Patterson, he finally said, I want to be clear about something. Your daughter is an adult. The money you gave her was legally hers to do with as she pleased. We can't recover it. I know. But, he looked up, if we can prove that Derek systematically manipulated you with false pretenses, the fake business, hiding his debts, creating urgency for payments, we might have grounds for fraud. It's a difficult case, but not impossible. I don't want to press charges, I said quickly. Not yet. I just need protection and leverage. Leverage for what? To get my daughter back. The real one, not whoever Derek has turned her into. Robert nodded slowly. Then we approach this strategically. First, we send a cease and desist letter regarding any future requests for money. Second, We formally document the evidence of fraud, not to prosecute, but to have on record. Third, he paused, you might consider a restraining order if they become aggressive. A restraining order against my own daughter? Let's hope it doesn't come to that. I left his office with a plan in motion, but feeling hollowed out. Was I really doing this? Treating my daughter like a criminal? Then I remembered that notebook. My assets, listed like a shopping list. Yes, I was doing this. Thursday afternoon, they returned from their truncated honeymoon. I knew because my doorbell rang at 6:47 p.m., and when I looked through the peephole, both of them were standing there. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. Mom? Emma's eyes were red, but I couldn't tell if from crying or anger. We need to talk. I'm listening. Can we come in? Derek's voice was strained, his smile gone. No. Emma flinched like I'd slapped her. No? Mom, I'm your daughter. You can't just... I can't just what, Emma? Respect the independence you demanded? That's not fair, her voice rose. You're twisting Derek's words. He was just trying to... I found your notebook, Derek. I looked directly at him. In your desk, the one where you itemized my assets. His face went pale. Emma looked confused. What notebook? You didn't tell her? I kept my eyes on Derek. About how you've been planning to extract every dollar I have? The house down payment you were going to ask for next? The investment property you wanted me to co-sign? You broke into our apartment? Derek's shock was morphing into anger. That's illegal, Helen. That's a violation of... I used the key to the apartment I pay for, I said calmly. And while I was there, I also found your maxed out credit cards, the collections notices, the eviction from your previous address, $72,000 in debt, Derek. Were you planning to tell Emma about that before or after I paid it off for you? Emma turned to Derek, her face white. What is she talking about? She's making things up because she's bitter, Derek said quickly. Emma, she's trying to drive us apart because she can't control you anymore. I have photographs of everything, I interrupted. Every credit card statement, every collections letter, every word in that notebook where you calculated my net worth. Derek's jaw clenched. You had no right. And you had no right to systematically defraud me. I've been to an attorney, Derek. I know what you did constitutes fraud. False pretenses, deliberate misrepresentation, concealment of debts while soliciting funds. Are you threatening to sue us? Emma's voice was small, broken. No, sweetheart. I'm threatening to protect myself. From your own daughter? Derek stepped forward, his voice dropping to something dangerous. Think very carefully, Helen. You do this. You go public with accusations. You involve lawyers. And you'll never see Emma again, or any future grandchildren. Is that what you want? To die alone because you couldn't let go of some money? There it was, the threat I'd been expecting. I looked at Emma, waiting for her to contradict him, to say he was wrong, to choose me. She looked away. Get off my property, I said quietly. Both of you. And don't come back unless you're ready to tell me the truth. All of it. Mom, now Emma. They left. Derek's hand was tight on Emma's arm as he steered her toward their car. Not the one I'd leased, I noticed. A different car, probably borrowed. I closed the door, locked it, and walked on shaking legs to my bedroom. Only then did I let myself cry. But even through the tears, I knew I'd done the right thing. I took the next 3 days off. No phone calls, no planning, no thinking about Emma or Derek. I needed space to breathe, to remember who I was before I became someone's ATM. I gardened. I read books I'd been meaning to read for years. I had lunch with friends I'd been neglecting. And slowly, I started to feel human again. Sunday morning, I was having coffee on my back patio when my phone rang. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Helen. This is Patricia Henderson, Derek's mother. I'd met Patricia twice, once at the engagement party, once at the wedding. Both times she'd been perfectly polite, perfectly distant. Hello, Patricia. I wanted to reach out because I think there's been a terrible misunderstanding. Her voice was smooth, practiced. Derek told me what happened, and I'm sure if we all just sat down together. Did Derek tell you about his $72,000 in debt? Pause. Young people sometimes have financial difficulties. Did he tell you he made a list of my assets to systematically extract money from me? Longer pause. Helen, I understand you're upset about the wedding speech. Derek explained that he was just trying to encourage independence, but his words came out wrong. He's devastated that you took it the wrong way. The wrong way? I laughed, surprising myself. Patricia, did you call to apologize for your son? Or to manipulate me into giving him more money? That's not fair. Derek loves Emma. He would never. He wrote down my net worth in a notebook. He calculated how much he could extract. Those are facts, not feelings. If you truly loved your daughter, Patricia said, her voice cooling, you'd want her marriage to succeed. You'd help them through this difficult time instead of abandoning them when they need you most. There it was. The guilt trip. The implication that I was the bad mother, the selfish one. A month ago, it might have worked. Goodbye, Patricia. Don't call again. I hung up and blocked the number. My hands were steady. My breathing was calm. I felt nothing but a cold clarity. They were coordinating. First the direct confrontation, now the concerned parent. What would come next? I didn't have to wait long to find out. Tuesday evening, Emma appeared at my door alone. No Derek. She looked exhausted, her eyes swollen, wearing sweatpants and an old college hoodie. None of the designer clothes I'd bought her. Mom, please, I need to talk to you. Every maternal instinct I had wanted to pull her inside, make her tea, fix whatever was hurting her. I stayed in the doorway. I'm listening. Can I come in, please? Emma, the last time you were here, Derek threatened that I'd never see future grandchildren. I need to know, are you here because you want to talk or because he sent you? She flinched. He doesn't know I'm here. He thinks I'm at the gym. That decided it. I let her in. We sat in the kitchen where I'd raised her, where we'd had breakfast every morning before school, where I'd taught her to bake cookies. She looked around like she was seeing it for the first time. I didn't know, she said finally, about Derek's debts, about the notebook. He told me he had some credit card debt from his startup costs, but not $70,000. What did he say about the notebook? She looked down at her hands. He said you were exaggerating, that it was just random notes, not a plan, that you broke into our apartment because you can't accept that I'm married. And what do you think? I don't know what to think anymore. Her voice broke. I love him, Mom, I really do. But these past few days, he's been different, angry. He says you're trying to destroy our marriage, that you're jealous because you're alone and you can't stand to see me happy. Is that what he says? But then I think about the wedding and how he said we didn't need you anymore, and he didn't even ask me first. He just said it, in front of everyone. She wiped her eyes. And I wanted to defend you, but I froze. I didn't know what to do. You could have said something after. I know, and I'm sorry. I was embarrassed and confused, and Derek said I was overreacting, that it was just words, that you'd get over it. Emma. I reached across the table but didn't touch her. I need you to be honest with me. Did you know he was using me for money? No, I mean, I knew you were helping us, but I thought you wanted to. You never said no. Because you're my daughter. Because I love you. Because I would have given you anything. Would have? Her voice was small. Would have given you anything, I continued, if you'd loved me back. If you'd respected me, if you'd been honest with me. She was crying now. Real tears. I do love you, Mom. I'm so sorry. For all of it. Then tell me the truth. All of it. How did this start? When did Derek's interest in me become about money? She hesitated, and I knew. Whatever she said next would determine everything. From the beginning, she whispered, he asked about you on our third date, about what you did, what you had. I thought he was just being polite, asking about my family. But looking back, he targeted you because of me. She nodded, sobbing. I wanted to hold her. I wanted to tell her it was okay, that we'd figure it out together. But I needed her to sit in this truth first, to really feel it. What do you want to do, Emma? I don't know. I love him, but I don't know if I can trust him anymore. And he's so angry all the time now. He blames you, but also me, for not managing you better. That's the word he used. Managing. You need to leave him. I can't. I don't have anywhere to go. The apartment is his name. She stopped. No, it's your name, isn't it? The lease. I co-signed, but I can remove my name and terminate the lease. It's in the paperwork. Then we'd be evicted. Mom, I don't have money. I spent everything on trying to keep up with Derek's lifestyle. I thought we were building something together, but we were just spending your money. We sat in silence. You can stay here, I finally said, but not with him. And not until you're ready to tell me everything, every lie, every manipulation, every time you chose him over the truth. He'll be so angry. Let him be angry. I have lawyers now, Emma. I have protection. And so will you if you choose it. She looked at me with something like hope. Really? Really? But you have to choose, sweetheart. Him or the truth. You can't have both. She left an hour later, promising to think about it. I watched her drive away, not knowing if I'd saved her or pushed her further into Derek's arms. But at least I'd tried. 3 days later, they came together. Thursday evening, just as the sun was setting, I saw them through the window, Emma and Derek, walking up my driveway side by side. Emma looked nervous. Derek looked determined. I considered not answering, but I'd been expecting this. I opened the door before they could knock. Helen. Derek's smile was wide, practiced. We came to apologize for everything. Can we come in and talk? Please? Every instinct screamed no. But Emma was looking at me with pleading eyes, and I needed to see where this would go. 15 minutes, I said. They sat on my couch, the couch I'd bought when Emma was 10, the one we'd picked out together. Derek sat too close to Emma, his hand possessive on her knee. I want to start by saying I was completely out of line at the wedding, Derek began. The speech, the way I phrased things, it came out all wrong. I was nervous, had a bit too much to drink, and I didn't think about how it would sound. He was good, I'd give him that. The right amount of contrition, the right tone of sincerity. And the notebook? I asked. His expression didn't change. That was taken completely out of context. I was working on a financial planning exercise, something I learned in a business course. You list all assets, liabilities, potential resources. It wasn't about you specifically, Helen. It was about our family's overall financial picture. Your family that includes my house and retirement accounts. Because we're family, he said smoothly. Emma's your daughter. Anything that affects you affects her. I was just trying to understand the whole picture so we could plan responsibly. By hiding $72,000 in debt? His jaw tightened, just slightly. Those debts are my responsibility, and I'm handling them. I didn't tell Emma because I didn't want to worry her, but I have a plan to pay everything off. With my money? That's not fair, Helen. Emma spoke up, her voice shaky. We came here to make peace. Derek's been working really hard, and yes, we've made mistakes, but we want to start over. We want you in our lives. Do you? I looked at Emma, searching for the truth in her eyes. Or does Derek want access to my checkbook? Mom! Emma looked genuinely hurt. How can you say that? I'm your daughter. Then answer me honestly, Emma. When you came here Tuesday, you said Derek asked about me from the beginning, that you thought he was being polite, but now you're not sure. Which is it? Derek's hand tightened on Emma's knee. I saw it. I was upset when I said that, Emma said, not meeting my eyes. I was confused, but Derek and I talked, and I understand now. He was interested in my family because he loved me, because he wanted to know everything about me. She was reciting lines. I could hear it in her cadence. Emma, look at me. She did, reluctantly. Do you believe that? For just a second, I saw doubt flicker across her face. Then Derek leaned in, whispering something in her ear, and it was gone. Yes, she said. I believe him. My heart broke a little more. Helen, here's what we'd like to propose, Derek said, taking control again. We understand we got off on the wrong foot. We understand you feel used. So, let's start fresh. No more asking for money. No more expectations. Just family. We'll come over for Sunday dinners, we'll call, we'll include you in our lives. All we ask is that you forgive us and give us a chance. It sounded so reasonable, so perfect. And in exchange? I asked quietly. Derek's smile faltered for just a moment. In exchange? What do you want from me, Derek? Nothing. Just your love and support for your daughter. Not the house down payment you had planned? Not the investment property cosign? Not the nursery funding when you start talking about grandchildren? His mask slipped. Just for a second, I saw pure rage flash across his face. You're being paranoid, he said, his voice harder now. Emma, this is what I was talking about. She's so consumed with suspicion that she can't even accept a genuine apology. Mom, please, Emma begged. We're trying. Can't you just what? Pretend I didn't see the evidence? Pretend your husband didn't threaten to keep my grandchildren from me? Pretend he didn't systematically target you to get to my money? That's not what happened. Derek stood up, his composure cracking. You've twisted everything because you're a bitter, lonely old woman who can't stand that Emma doesn't need you anymore. Derek! Emma tried to pull him back. No, Emma, she needs to hear this. He turned back to me, and now the mask was completely gone. You had your chance. We came here, humbled ourselves, offered you a place in our lives, and you're throwing it away because of your pride and your paranoia. Fine. But don't come crying to us when you're alone in this house with no one who gives a damn about you. Get out, I said calmly. We're going. But understand something, Helen. You're making an enemy here. You think your lawyers scare me? You think your little investigation matters? Emma is my wife. Legally, she's mine. And if you keep pushing, you'll lose her forever. Is that what you want? Emma, I said, ignoring him. You can stay. Right now. Pack a bag, leave him, and you can stay here. I'll protect you. She looked between us, tears streaming down her face. I can't, she whispered. I'm sorry, Mom, I can't. Derek's smile returned, triumphant. Come on, baby. Your mother's made her choice. I watched them leave. Watched Derek's hand grip Emma's arm just a little too tight. Watched my daughter choose a liar over the truth. When the door closed, I locked it with shaking hands. Fear coursed through me. Real fear. Derek wasn't just a con artist. He was dangerous, possessive, and he had my daughter completely under his control. But beneath the fear was something stronger. Resolve. If Emma wouldn't save herself, I'd have to save her, and I knew exactly how to do it. I spent the next week building my case. Not for court, not yet, but for Emma. Robert Chen connected me with a private investigator named Marcus Webb. Former FBI, specialized in financial fraud. Within 4 days, he'd uncovered things even I hadn't suspected. Derek Henderson wasn't his real name. He was Derek Hoffman, and he'd done this twice before. 2 previous relationships with older women with money. One in Seattle, one in Phoenix. Both ended when the women got wise to his schemes. No charges filed, he was too careful for that, but restraining orders in both cases. Your daughter is his type, Marcus said, showing me the files. Mid to late 20s, close relationship with a wealthy parent, tendency toward people-pleasing. He's a professional, Mrs. Patterson. There was more. The consulting business didn't exist. His LinkedIn credentials were fabricated. Even the university he claimed to attend, he'd dropped out after 1 semester. What do I do with this? I asked. That depends on what you want. Criminal charges would be difficult without clear fraud, but you could expose him to Emma, or you could wait for him to slip up. Men like this always do. I don't have time to wait. He's isolating her. Soon, I won't be able to reach her at all. Marcus nodded. Then you need leverage, something he can't deny. We got it 2 days later. Derek had a gambling problem. That's where the debt came from. And he was still gambling. Marcus got video from a casino in Louisiana, where Derek had spent 2 nights the previous week, supposedly on a business trip. The timestamps showed him at poker tables while Emma thought he was in meetings. He'd lost $14,000. Money that should have gone to their rent, to paying down his debts. This is enough, I said, looking at the footage. This is what she needs to see. I called Emma. She didn't answer. I texted, I need to see you. Alone, it's important. No response. I tried again the next day. Emma, I'm not angry. I just need 1 hour. Please. Finally, a text back. Derek doesn't want me seeing you. Does Derek control who you see now? No response. I made a decision. If Emma wouldn't come to me, I'd go to her. Saturday morning, I knew Derek would be at the gym. Marcus had confirmed his schedule. I drove to the apartment and knocked. Emma opened the door in pajamas, looking startled. Mom, what are you? I need you to see something, please. Just 20 minutes. She hesitated, then let me in. We sat at her kitchen table, the expensive table I'd helped pay for. I pulled out my laptop. Before you watch this, I need you to know I did this because I love you, because you're being lied to, and you deserve the truth. Mom, if this is more accusations, just watch. I showed her everything. The background check revealing Derek's real name, the previous relationships, the fabricated credentials. Finally, the casino footage, time-stamped and clear. Emma's face went white. When was this? Last week, when he told you he was in Dallas for business meetings. She stared at the screen, watching Derek at the poker table, laughing, drinking, losing hand after hand. $14,000, I said quietly, in 1 night. We don't have $14,000, she whispered. We barely have rent. He told me we'd get paid from his consulting job this week. That's why we could cover the mortgage. She stopped. The mortgage on the apartment you co-signed for. There is no consulting job, Emma. There never was. She stood up abruptly, pacing. No, there has to be an explanation. Maybe he was there with clients. Maybe it was research for… Emma, stop. You don't understand. He loves me. He wouldn't… His name isn't Derek Henderson. That stopped her. She turned slowly. What? His legal name is Derek Hoffman. He's changed it in different states to avoid his history. He's done this before, Emma. To at least 2 other women. You're not the first. I showed her the restraining orders, the pattern, everything. Emma sank back into her chair, Her hands were shaking. I'm going to be sick. I went to get her water, and when I came back, she was crying. Not the delicate tears from before, but deep, wrenching sobs. How could I be so stupid? You're not stupid. You're a victim. He's a professional con artist, and he's very, very good. I defended him to you. I chose him over you. You were manipulated. That's what he does. The apartment door opened. Derek walked in, gym bag over his shoulder, and froze when he saw me. What's going on? His eyes darted between us. Emma stood up, her face tear-stained but her voice steady. Who are you? What? Emma, what is she? Who are you? I watched his expression cycle through confusion, concern, and finally, calculation. He was deciding which lie to tell. Your name isn't Derek Henderson, Emma continued. You're Derek Hoffman. You've done this to other women. You don't have a consulting business. You were at a casino in Louisiana last week, gambling away $14,000 we don't have. His face went cold. She's been investigating me? Emma, this is insane. Is it true? Silence. Derek, is it true? He looked at her for a long moment. Then something shifted in his expression. The charm vanished completely, replaced by something calculating and cruel. So what if it is? He said quietly. You think you're innocent here. You knew I needed money. You knew your mother had it. You played your part perfectly. The devoted daughter, the guilty conscience, the open checkbook. We were a team, Emma. Emma's face crumbled. What? Oh, don't act surprised. You wanted the life I could give you, the restaurants, the clothes, the image. I wanted your mother's money. It was a fair trade. That's not true. I loved you. And I gave you what you wanted in exchange. That's how this works. He turned to me, and his smile was pure poison. You think you've won, Helen? You've destroyed your relationship with your daughter. She'll always know you drove me away, that you couldn't just let her be happy. That guilt will eat at her forever. Get out, I said. This is my apartment. This is my apartment. I co-signed the lease, and I'm terminating it effective immediately. You have 30 days to vacate. The notice is already filed. His composure cracked. You can't do that. I already did. You'll get the official notice Monday. And if you go near Emma again, if you contact her, if you so much as drive past this building, I will press every charge my lawyers can find. Fraud, identity theft, financial exploitation. I have everything documented, everything. We stared at each other. Leave, Emma said quietly. Just leave. He looked at her, and for a moment, I thought he'd try one more manipulation. But maybe he realized it was over. Maybe he saw something in Emma's face that told him the game was done. Fine, he said. Keep your pathetic life and your controlling mother. You deserve each other. He grabbed his gym bag and walked out. The silence he left behind was deafening. Emma filed for divorce 3 days later. Robert Chen recommended a colleague who specialized in family law, and she handled everything. Derek tried to fight it, claiming he was entitled to half of Emma's assets, but Emma had no assets. Everything had been mine. He'd miscalculated badly. The divorce proceedings revealed even more. Derek had opened credit cards in Emma's name without her knowledge. Identity theft. He'd forged her signature on loan applications. When confronted with the evidence, he tried to claim Emma had consented, but the timestamps proved otherwise. Many were opened before they'd even married. Robert filed criminal charges: financial fraud, identity theft, forgery. The district attorney was very interested, especially when Marcus provided evidence of the pattern with other victims. Derek's public defender tried to negotiate a plea deal. Derek wanted probation, community service, no jail time. I attended the hearing. I wanted to look him in the eye. Mrs. Patterson, the prosecutor said, This is your chance to address the court about the impact of Mr. Hoffman's crimes. I stood up. Derek wouldn't look at me. Your Honor, this man systematically targeted my daughter to access my finances. He lied about his identity, his background, and his intentions. He stole my daughter's identity to open fraudulent accounts. He manipulated her psychologically to isolate her from me. And when caught, he showed no remorse, only anger at being discovered. I paused. I'm not asking for vengeance. I'm asking for justice. Women like my daughter need to be protected from predators like Derek Hoffman. He's done this before, and without consequences, he'll do it again. The judge listened. She'd reviewed all the evidence, all the testimony from Derek's previous victims who'd finally come forward. Mr. Hoffman, she said, you've shown a pattern of predatory behavior, targeting vulnerable women and their families. This court finds you guilty of financial fraud, identity theft, and forgery. I'm sentencing you to 5 years in state prison, followed by 5 years of supervised probation. You will also be ordered to pay restitution to all victims. Derek's face went white. 5 years? You can't. I can and I have. Bailiff, take him into custody. I watched them lead him away. He was shouting something, but I couldn't hear it over the ringing in my ears. It was over. Emma was waiting outside the courtroom. We'd been living together for the past month, slowly rebuilding trust. It wasn't easy. She was in therapy, working through the manipulation and her own guilt. I was in therapy too, learning to set boundaries and recognize red flags. How do you feel? She asked. Relieved, I said honestly, and sad. 5 years won't erase what he did. No, Emma agreed, but it's something. We drove home in silence. The house felt different now, lighter somehow. Emma had moved into her old bedroom, and slowly we were finding our rhythm again. That evening, she made dinner, her first time cooking in months. Derek had preferred restaurants, preferred keeping her dependent. Mom, she said as we ate, I need to say something. I waited. I'm sorry. For everything. For not seeing what he was. For choosing him over you. For... She swallowed hard. For being so weak. You weren't weak. You were human. He was very good at what he did. But I should have seen it. The signs were there. Maybe, but that's why we're both in therapy, so we can see the signs next time. She nodded. I'm going to pay you back. I don't know how long it'll take, but every penny you spent on the wedding, on the apartment, on everything, I'm going to pay it back. Emma, please, I need to do this. I need to make it right. I thought about arguing, but I understood. She needed to reclaim her agency, her independence, the real kind, not the fake version Derek had offered. Okay, I said, but we'll set up a payment plan that doesn't destroy your life, something manageable. She smiled, the first real smile I'd seen in months. Over the next few weeks, things settled into a new normal. Emma got a promotion at work, applied for her own apartment, started dating again, carefully, cautiously, with eyes wide open. The money she paid back went into a trust. I'd give it to her eventually for a real house, a real future. But she didn't need to know that yet. Derek's previous victims reached out after the trial. One of them, Sarah from Phoenix, became an unlikely friend. She'd survived Derek too, and she was rebuilding her life. Does it get easier? Emma asked her during a video call. It gets different, Sarah said. You stop blaming yourself. You start trusting your judgment again. And one day you realize he doesn't have power over you anymore. Emma was getting there, slowly but surely. And me? I'd learned my own lessons about boundaries, about the difference between helping and enabling, about how love without wisdom can be dangerous. I'd also learned I was stronger than I thought. I'd gone to war for my daughter, and I'd won. Not because I was ruthless, but because I refused to give up on the truth. That was enough. 6 months after the trial, I barely recognized my life, in the best possible way. Emma had moved into a modest one-bedroom apartment in a neighborhood she actually liked. She'd gotten a promotion to senior analyst, a position she'd earned through genuine merit. On weekends, she took painting classes, something she'd loved in high school but abandoned because Derek thought it was juvenile. She was becoming herself again. The real Emma, not Derek's puppet. We had dinner every Sunday. Sometimes we cooked together. Sometimes we ordered takeout and watched old movies. I went on a third date with Marcus, she told me one evening, the accountant from work. She laughed at my cautious tone. He's different, Mom. He paid for his own coffee. He drives a 10-year-old Honda. He talks about his student loans like they're real problems. He sounds lovely. He is. My therapist says I should tell you thank you for not giving up on me when I chose Derek, for fighting for me even when I couldn't fight for myself. You're my daughter. I'd fight God himself if he hurt you. I know. That's why I'm paying you back. I made another payment this morning, only $158,000 to go. I didn't tell her about the trust, but watching her take pride in reclaiming her independence, that was worth everything. My life had blossomed too. I'd reconnected with friends I'd neglected. Linda and I had coffee every Wednesday. My book club had welcomed me back. I'd also started consulting again, small businesses, nonprofits, and I'd started dating. A widower named James. We went to museums, tried new restaurants. It was nice, comfortable. You seem happy, Emma observed one Sunday. I am, I realized. For the first time in a long time, I really am. Meanwhile, Derek's life had gone exactly as predicted. Prison hadn't been kind. He worked in the prison library for 70 cents an hour. His mother had visited once in 6 months. His brother stopped returning calls. But the real justice was his reputation. Sarah from Phoenix had started a blog, Surviving Financial Predators, Derek Hoffman's Victims Speak Out. It had grown into a support network and advocacy work. Derek's name was now the first result for romance scams. His face was plastered across warning sites. He'd never be able to do this again. The restitution payments would take decades. His credit was destroyed. Background checks caught everything. He'd written Emma once from prison, begging for forgiveness. Emma had burned it. Any part of me that cared died when he called our relationship a fair trade, she said. I'm done grieving who I thought he was. Derek tried to appeal his sentence. Denied, tried for early parole, also denied. He would serve every day of those 5 years. And when he got out, nearly 40, with a felony record, destroyed credit, and a Google history that would haunt him forever. No respectable job would hire him. No woman would trust him. He'd made his choices. Now he'd live with the consequences. Patricia had tried reaching out once, asking me to support Derek's early release. I'd deleted it without responding. My life was good now. Emma was healing. We'd both learned our lessons. And Derek? Derek was exactly where he deserved to be. Sometimes justice actually works.